Welcome, welcome. As a matter of fact, guys, more than welcome. Let me make sure you guys can hear me okay. I'm going to make sure that audio is the best audio that I can give you guys because we have an amazing show today. This show is for Monday. What is this today? March 9th, 2026 rundown. Let me tell you guys what is going on. Welcome to the Ask Dom Dat show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. The fastest 30 minutes of your day to make you an overall more informed person. My name is Dominique Pereira, but you might know me as Ask Dom Dat. And on this Ask Dom Dat show, the rundown is day 10 of the war. We are day 10. If you thought that it was going to go 9 days, you lost that bet. So I have some amazing thoughts and some new developments. Okay, guys, now I got my bearings. I wanted to remember what I wanted to tell you guys. Crazy stuff happened this weekend on the war. Crazy stuff. I'm going to get right into it. And I want to share you guys casualties, money, oil. We got a new supreme leader, all of it, and the crazy new missile. Wow. I thought people are lying to you, and I'm going to tell you who it is. All right. And then this weekend I ran a 5K. I ran a 5K. So we're going to get into that here in DC for women. You know, I don't think there's too many more people in this world that love women as much as I do. I've been loving women since the day I was born. Started with my mom, my sisters, my wife, and every other woman that needs love. Dom's here for you. And my 5K proved that. Ujamaa Seed Conference. So I went to a farming conference this weekend, guys. I want to share that with you. It was a Black Seed Conference or Black Farmer Seed Conference. This is a book that I got. I was shout out to them for giving me this book. I was pleased and disappointed. I'll get right into it later today. But this book is full of seeds and it's a seed catalog. I love it because I want to go over what I learned. And I bought some seeds. I got some watermelons, some squash, some whatever. But that we'll get into it. But the only reason that I was disappointed is because I thought this was a coloring book. I was so hyped up and excited to color between the lines. And I literally was like, ooh, coloring book for the conference. And then it was like adult grown man and woman, like real reading. So but there's a lot going on there. All right, so day 10 of the war. What's going on, guys? All right, so we got some new news. Remember, what was the whole point of this war? Take over the Iranian regime and or topple the Iranian regime. Now, you know what? Can somebody pull up what the word regime means for me? Put it here in my comments and my notes. Tell me what the word regime means. How come we always use the word regime when it comes to Iran, and then like government when it comes to other countries, right? Like that's already talking about your psyche, right? Like, do they call us the American regime or the Israeli regime, or do they call us the government? So you don't want to be subject. Bon dia, Mr. Fireball 619. You don't want to be subject to your own propaganda, right? Like your own bubble. Because remember, we were trying to topple the Iranian regime. But guess what happened? We got a new supreme leader over in Iran named. And who was this new supreme leader? Well, remember, the old supreme leader his name was Ayatollah Khamenei. The new supreme leader's name is Ayatollah Khamenei. It's a son. The son. It's a okay. Here we go. Somebody throw a regime is the government of a ruling system of a country, especially the people in power and how they govern. Yeah. But how come we call them a regime? We don't really. I don't ever hear like the Cuban regime or the Dominican Republic regime. It's always like government, except for when I hear about Iran. So I thought there was something regime there. But no, okay, cool. So, but it's just government. But the problem with Iran on this 9th or 10th day of war is that the supreme leader got named, and it's his son. Remember, we talked about that they are Shiite Muslims. And what's the biggest pillar of Shiite Muslim is um, it's martyrdom. It's jihad. Jihad is, I believe and I live for something greater than just this life, and it's to be a martyr or act as a martyr for my faith and my family and all that. This guy, remember, his dad was killed in the blast. So you would think, well, we're never going to negotiate. He's never going to negotiate with the United States. You killed his dad, right? Now on top of that, it's even worse. And I'm not telling. Don't believe me. Believe the people who aren't telling you this. The economists, the people in the suits. Because guess what? Oil prices went soaring today, like 20%. Oil prices went like to $120 a barrel. Why is that? Because the people that control the prices saw, oh God, this guy's even more radical than his pops was. And not only did they kill his dad, all right, that's, when you're in the world of regimes and call it, I'm not even, Iran has a lot of governmental problems. I don't like how they oppress their population, especially their women, from what I've seen. I've never been to Iran, so that's the only thing that I've seen in the internet, but it seems very oppressive. But they killed his dad. But then guess who else they killed? They killed his wife. Then they killed his daughters. Everybody. This guy has he's at home by himself. They killed his entire family. He's the last surviving person in the family. So he has absolutely no incentive to negotiate. He's saying, I'm going to go down fighting. And I believe him. So now what do? You almost got to take him out. But and if you take him out, who are you negotiating with? It's a perpetual war, folks. You can't, you can't negotiate with somebody who's dead. And then if you kill him, then the next person is just going to be like, you killed my brother. I mean, so peace through weapons and bombing is just not the greatest thing. So speaking of the kill total, let's let me share my screen really quick. No, this is, hold on. Let me not that screen. I'm gonna share. I want to share with you guys. That's Patrick Bet David. Actually, and their podcast, that I believe, if you guys are familiar with Patrick Bet David's podcast, I've been thinking that they're one of the worst podcasts out there for this Iran Israel American war. They clearly just don't know anything about international politics. Honestly, very smart, I'm sure, when it comes to business, and he's extremely rich, successful in investing. So kudos to him. But complete ludicrousy when it comes to war, and I'm gonna go over why. Not that I'm a war scholar myself, but you got to take yourself out of, your biases and just to look at the facts and think cohesively. But here's where the numbers are, people. Day 10, Iran, 1,255 people killed, 12,000 injured so far. This is what's reported. And whatever these numbers are, I think they're actually higher, right? This is what people are really talking about here. All these countries: Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Oman. Otherwise, countries that no American cares about. No American really cares about. If you don't work in international politics, if you don't work in the government, outside of UAE and Dubai, you have no business going to Iraq for fun. You're not going to Lebanon for fun. Qatar and Bahrain, maybe. Yeah, because Kuwait, whatever. Sorry, Kuwait's really not anything worth there. But we don't know it. We don't care about these countries. I'm telling you, we don't. I mean, like, and I'm not saying me. I'm not saying me. I've never been to any of these countries. I'm just saying, you ask the normal person, gun to your head, tell me where Kuwait is. They're gonna be like, well, I don't. Boom. They don't care. But as far as war is concerned, now it's like, okay, what's going on there? Well, these countries are being attacked, and then people, if you're ignorant to the geopolitical circumstances, you're like, oh, why is Iran attacking these countries when it's Israel and the United States that attack them? They're attacking their neighbors. Dummies. Well, because to get to Israel, you got to go here. All of these countries have military bases on them. Even if they're not attacking the military bases, What people in our government have said is no more political wars, no more whatever, not politically correct wars, right? Like there are no breaks. We have no breaks. Who's to say that the radicals in Iran aren't saying the same thing? They're saying, yeah, you have military bases. Just by the fact that you have a military base there, we're going to attack you. We don't care if it's a playground, a school, a hotel. We just want to make it so painful for you that when your military base lease comes up next year or whenever, you're going to say, you know what, it kind of wasn't worth it. Sorry, guys, we're not going to put a military base here because, yeah, you put a military base here. We got some money, blah, 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 blah. But we didn't get protected. Between all of us, right? Like Lebanon here is a little bit of an outlier because this is where Hezbollah is. So a lot of these people are killed by Israel. But everybody else here is being attacked by Iran. So you're like, man, Jordan's like, I don't like this game anymore. Kuwait's like, I don't like this. We're getting killed. And most of US defense systems are based in Israel. So you're so close. And the thing about these bases, you got to understand the reason why they're, I would say, legitimate targets in war is because even if they don't use these bases to shoot out from to Iran, they are intelligence gathering. They use these bases to figure out where Iran targets are. They got a lot of radar systems. They got a lot of military exposure here that benefits the entire operation throughout the Gulf. So now we're going to see what this new supreme leader, which is such an interesting title, supreme leader. So unfortunately, we got deaths everywhere. U.S. military, 8 people killed so far, 18 injured. We don't know the gravity of some of these injuries, so we might see this number take up a little bit. We talked about last week, what are we willing to sustain? Like at what number of deaths are people going to say, oh, you know what, we don't want to be there anymore? And I suspect that that's when that ticks to the 50 plus deaths in the US. Well, when you start to tick above 50, you're closer to 100 than you are to 0. And then it becomes very real for people. It becomes very real because at 50, that could just be one more strike. And if you look at the significance of that, the only people that have reached over that 50 is in Iran and Lebanon, because again, Hezbollah is being attacked here. Israel is in real trouble here, I think, because again, guys, here's one thing that I do want to tell you guys. The Ask Dom Now All Access, Aaron, put that up here on the bottom there. What I'm gonna start doing is I could only be so real and so raw with you guys, right? Like I could only be so real and so raw here because of the algorithms. There's platform rules that I have to follow. There's a lot of stuff that I have to kind of be tepid on a little bit sometimes. But I'm doing the Ask Dom All Access. What I'm going to start doing starting Wednesday is right after this show, I'm going to transition into the second half of the show in the All Access community. It is free for the first 100 people. If you want to know more information about everything we're talking about, a more in-depth conversation, a realer, just me and the community, the private community, to tell you guys, here's what I think. Here's how it's going to affect you in your private and personal life. You guys know that I hate to say it, but I invested in Chevron. Let me see what Chevron's doing. A couple weeks ago, right? When the give me 1 second here. Let me see what's Chevron doing. I'm going to throw this up here. I invested in Chevron when we did the Lebanon attack, and now it's been about a month. It's up about 7% in the last month, or I'm sorry, 4% in the last month. I thought it was actually higher. Okay, in the last 6 months, I think it was a couple months ago then that we're up 22% in the last 6 months. Yeah, I think it's going about 6 months. And it's because of all this instability, geopolitical stuff. Now, let me give you more. Let me see here. Lena says, It was a U.S. Tomahawk that bombed a girls' school. Our tax dollars to kill little children and here at home little children in cages. There are reports. Thank you, Lena. There are reports that the girls' school what Lena's referring to, the first day of the war, there was a girls' school, 167 people, presumably that number died. Most of them young girls that were in school. You could take uh, give me 1 second there. Let me change my screen here. Yeah, take that off. Most of them died, and the U.S. has not denied it. They said that there's going to be more of an investigation. Remember, it was a joint attack by Israel and U.S. What they're finding is that it was presumably a U.S. Tomahawk bomb. And the reason that they believe that is because of the shrapnel of the bomb, the impact crater, and everything. People were making all sorts of claims, whether if it was whatever. But now, what you have to be very careful of in this war is that people are lying to you. Everybody has an interest, right? And you have to figure out who is lying to you. Don't worry about who's telling you the truth. Worry about who's lying to you and whose interest they're trying to protect. And here's why. There was a bombing in Cyprus Air Force Base, British Air Force Base. And they came out. They haven't said who it was, but they said it wasn't the Iranians. Whoa. Um, so there's a couple other bombings that are happening, and Iran is saying, no, no, we're admitting when we bomb you guys, and that wasn't us. But we are happy to take credit. We need every credit we can get, and that one was not us. Same thing happened in Saudi Arabia. So, there was a bombing in Saudi Arabia that Iran said, no, we bombed this, this, and this. That one was not us. So you have to start wondering who has an interest in getting other countries involved in this war. And that's the sad part about it, is that you really can't say these things out loud without getting censored on these platforms. But that's why you have to join the Ask Dom Now All Access community, so we can really talk about what's going on. Because also, here's the thing: if you think that we are winning this war, and I'm using this word "we," not to be partisan, but if you think that we're winning this war, you got to understand that what's happening. India, which we talked about last week, got pretty upset that we blew up a ship off Sri Lanka. There was more information on that, where the United States, presumably, they did give a warning to the ship to let the ship know that, hey, we're about to attack you. Unfortunately, from what the reports we're hearing, again, Iran is no angel here, because from what the reports we're hearing is that the captain of the ship did not allow the people, soldiers on the ship, to abandon ship. They told them, we're going down with the ship. So remember, they were at a paramilitary exercise. It was a conference of peace, actually, and the United States was at that same conference. So it was United States, India, Iran, and some other countries. And as part of one of the requirements to being at that conference and bringing your military ship is that you could not have a ship armed there. Right? When you ask, well, why did they shoot it down with a submarine? Well, because you cannot, go into this military parade there with an armed ship. So the United States knew, even though we're hearing all of this, like, yeah, we took it down with the torpedoes. Why? Because to be at that conference, they couldn't have an armed ship. Torpedoes fly under the radar down low, but they took down the ship that they weren't firing back because they were not armed. So that's a interesting perspective there if you're looking at what that really means. But what does India is now really pissed, and India and Pakistan have their own issues. So they're saying, hey, we can't let our energy infrastructure be depleted, and we get a lot of our energy from Iran. Well, now the United States gave India a special permission to buy oil from who? Russia. So now India, remember, Russian oil was embargoed. It was sanctioned. You couldn't buy Russian oil if you were part of a U.S. ally. India is a strategic U.S. partner. I don't even know that we can consider them an ally, but certainly a strategic U.S. partner. But now, and which they have their own civil rights atrocities going on in India. And femicide is a very big issue there. Pollution, and just India has, I mean, it's a developing country, but 1.4 whatever billion people, it's a very hard situation to manage. But so they're tipping, right? Like they don't want any real balance of power. They are democracy, so people can uprise, and 1.4, 1.5 billion people uprising is not an easy thing. So they're saying we can't let your war affect us. So they're buying oil from Russia. Here's the problem: oil prices are soaring now, right? Like Bahrain, Qatar, they shut down their oil production and natural liquid gas. So Russia is the biggest benefactor of this. They were our sworn enemy, I thought. Right? Like, so now Russia is saying, whoa, we love this because here's how this is really benefiting Russia. Well, the United States now is showing kind of our cards. What can our weapons do? Russia now has a better indication of our anti-air depletion rate. They have a better understanding of our THAAD and our Patriots and all of that. And these are things that they can't. What Ukraine is now saying, hey guys, if you guys can convince Russia to cease the bombing on us, we can help you guys with the drones because we've been dealing with this for the last 3 years. So we can help with the drones in the UAE. And so Ukraine is trying to leverage this to help get a ceasefire in Russia. Russia's saying, we don't have any good reason to stop. Why will we stop? Ukraine is going to stop receiving more and more assistance from the United States because they got to use it over there. There is going to be a bill for an extra 500 billion or 50 billion. I don't want to tell you guys the wrong factor of 10, but I think it's $500 billion in supplemental assistance for the military that they're going to vote for because this war is costing about $1 billion a day. Now, I use the word war, and here's what I'm trying to tell you guys, and tell me where you guys are calling in from. If you're listening to anybody and they're not using the word war, they're being intellectually dishonest with you, and you got to understand that they're lying to you. And because what you don't want people to do is try to shape your opinion. You want people to just tell you the facts and tell you maybe what they think of those facts, but you have to form your own opinion. And the reason I say war is because when somebody's saying, oh, no, this isn't a war, it's a special military operation. Okay, well, facts are facts no matter what part of the world you're in. So imagine that the cards were reversed. If somebody, a country, doesn't even matter, let's call it Iran. If Iran one day while we were negotiating in this negotiations with the Iranian nuclear program, they decided, you know what, we just don't like what you are doing, United States. We're gonna bomb the Congress, the White House, whatever. We're gonna bomb your parliament. No, we don't have a parliament, but we're gonna bomb your House of Representatives. We're gonna kill everybody from the top all the way to the next 43 people in the line of succession. And we're gonna bomb all your military installations in your country. We're gonna stop your oil production. Would you not call that a war here? I mean, would we not say we're in war? Right? Like, just think about that. So that's just the fact of life. Yes, we are at war. And now how we resolve that war is still to be determined. But so Russia is the biggest benefactor of this war. Maybe on the second half of the show, I'm going to tell you why Patrick Bet David and those guys at the PBD podcast are completely wrong. They don't even know what the heck they're talking about with regard to this, because they're talking about how China is going to suffer from this more than anybody else. And this was Trump's master plan with Venezuela. And he's playing 3D chess and stopping oil to China. Such idiots. I'm sorry. I don't even know those guys. I mean, maybe they're not idiots. The takes that they're taking are idiotic and moronic. And the reason being is that they have friends in the White House. They have friends in high places. They have friends that are connected. I don't. I'm a nobody. I have you guys. It's me and you. That's it. So I can be honest with you. I don't have anything to anyone else. We don't have sponsors outside of the Southern Seed Exchange, which not technically a sponsor because I bought my ticket and bought the seeds, but check them out. Southern Seed Exchange for like freaking amazing seeds in here. Buy some good organic seeds. And then Lena, if you're in the Texas area, let me see here, more around the Austin area, she makes custom Pop-Tarts. Freaking amazing. Maybe send me some pictures. I got to show people if you're in Austin, Texas area, and you want some fresh baked Pop-Tarts, custom made. Yeah, Lena. But okay, so back to the war against hunger. JK. But yeah, so we have, and the last video that I really want to show you guys is this. I told you somebody's lying to you, right? Like everybody's lying to you. And we just need to figure out who's telling you the truth. And Iran did a missile firing, and I'm trying to find this video. It's called Iran was saying, "Hey, you know what? Let me see if I could find it, guys." They're saying, "Hey, we're not even using our good missiles yet. We've been using I think it's called the Shahad drone. It's slow, whatever. But those drones are the ones that we've been getting ready since 2012 and 2013. We still got the good stuff waiting for y'all." Um, and I'm like, nah, they're lying. They're lying. They don't. This is their good stuff, right? Like, because why hold out? And then I saw a video. Maybe I can find it. It was a video of what's called a Fata 2. It's a hypersonic missile, Fata 2 missile, and it looked freaking insane. I mean, I need to find this video for you guys. Hype that Let me see. Give me 1 second, guys, because I had this video queued up. I don't know where I did with it. Oh, I think I might have backspaced it. But this thing went like just look up Fata 2 missiles. And the way it exploded and how fast it was going. Hypersonic means that we don't have to get into the physics of all of it, but supersonic is whenever you go past the speed of sound, Mach 2. When hypersonic is when you sustain over Mach 5 for a prolonged period of time. So sometimes going Mach 5 through Mach 15, you're going hypersonic. So you're going 15 times the speed of sound, meaning if you hit something now, right? If you hit something in 1 second, 15 seconds later, you're going to hear it. Or it's crazy fast. And I saw the video of their Fata 2, and I thought that was AI. I was like, there's no way that thing is real. And then I started seeing it in real, like, reputable news sources, and I'm thinking to myself, oh crap, maybe it is real. And if that's real, then they might be telling the truth about how many missiles that they have left. And if that's the case, I'm like, oh shoot, this thing is going to drag on forever. So just figure out who's lying to you, who has an interest in all of this. And lastly, let me tell you something about the stock market here, because I don't even feel comfortable with you guys. And again, this is not investing advice, but I don't feel comfortable investing in the stock market right now, no matter what. Because I think we're about to come to a crash. What I think is happening is we're being propped up by institutions that people are calling the president. People are calling people. Everybody up here is in the loop, right? Like we're down here. We have no idea. We have no control. And they're saying, look, why don't let us take our money out before this really goes to crap, right? So I think we're going to see a crash really soon. The jobs report came out. We lost 400,000 jobs. The stock market slipped. There's all these things that are happening that in isolation would cause for concern. But like it's like we're in a burning room, but nobody's leaving, right? Everybody's like, okay, let's all just be cool. Maybe things aren't that bad, right? But and then you're seeing that the owners of the property are like, oh yeah, just be cool. Let me just pack my bags and but everything is fine, just a little spark. But they're packing their bags. So how do you hedge against it? I don't know yet. It's not my forte. Maybe, but definitely do some research. I mean, because I've hedged against it. I'll tell you how I hedge against it. I hedge against it by obviously I'm invested in gold and silver, like I've said before. Yeah, let me see
As a
here. But gold
worldwide
prices. Oh, what is that?
visuals
Oh, okay. So
as Operation
sorry, this is no. You can take that
missile
off.
in what
I don't
Iran
know what
calls,
this is. Oh yeah, that's the Fata.
which includes
This is the Fata drone,
warhead.
but Aaron, why don't we find it and then we can throw it on there? Maybe just mute it. But but yeah, there's a video of it just going super hypersonic. And then this is kind of Iran's stockpile of drones and missiles. It's all underground. So this is a longer show, but they're saying that they have missiles for days and I mean for years. They're saying that they're using stuff from 10 years ago. I don't know that I believe it, but so far they've been proven right. But how am I hedging against it? Sorry. So I'm hedging against all of this by, gold and silver, but whatever. That's also fake, right? Like you can't eat gold and silver. So don't worry about that. Your 401k, all of this, if the system goes kapoof, but you want to have some cash on hand. If you have money in the bank, I always say take out, a good amount of cash on hand. $10,000 if you have it. What's the point of having $10,000 in a bank account right now if something happens tomorrow and the banks start closing? Remember, Iran also they hit two AWS plants now, right? AWS plants, cloud storage. That's where all their monies are at, right? And people are like, why are you hitting, cloud storage? Well, because that's where all the data is at. That's data that the US has, blah, blah, blah. So if they hit the cloud storage of Wells Fargo, all of a sudden you can't access your money. Right? Like don't blame me. I'm telling you guys, prep, 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 prep. So make sure you have that. How do you hedge against it? That's why I always encourage entrepreneurship. All right, like a business that you can actively be making money on. I don't care what that business is, but it's not dependent on just fugazi markets. All right, like even on the best of days, when we're talking Chevron, when we're talking all this other stuff. Remember, yeah, you can go up 30%, which is great in the market. 40% is great. But if you don't have that much money to start, you have $1,000 or call it $5,000 to to start your business. Even $10,000. You have $10,000 to start your business. You go up 20%. That's 2 grand in a year. Great. That's better than the market will ever do over a long period of time. But still, just 2 grand. I mean, you want life changing money, so a business will help you with that. And not just investing. Nobody's ever gotten wealthy by investing in the stock market. I'll tell you that. People have gotten wealthy by investing other people's money in the stock market, but just their own money. Unless you have a rich papa that can give you $1 million, this is just a way to invest, but it's more getting you in the mindset of investing. But getting 15, 20, 30% just by yourself won't really make a dent. You have to find a system, and then when you have that system, convince other people to give you a large amount of money, and then you invest that money and make money on the margins. So but that and then make sure that you have your food security. Make sure that you have your backups. All right. Like it's crazy to me that if the grocery store that's within a 20-minute radius from you closed down today, what are you doing for food for the next week or two? Think about that. You don't put yourself in a position that you can be a victim, because what are we saying? We're saying, oh, the war is so far over there. I actually saw an influencer. I commented on her page because she was talking about how Egypt was not too you can still visit Egypt. Egypt is not at war or whatever. I mean, maybe I'll pull up a freaking map, but don't worry about it. You guys know where Egypt is. But, and I was like, shut up. This is too close for comfort for me. um Egypt. Why would I be going to Egypt right now when the war is okay, yeah, hold on. Well, let me share this tab. Let me show you what she was talking about. Share my screen. No, share. Am I How come it's not sharing my tab? There we go. So she was saying, so this is Egypt here. She was saying, Cairo and whatever is over here. You can visit this area. Just don't come to this area here because the war. This is where they're bombing in Israel right here. This is Jordan. This is Saudi Arabia. We just went over all the attacks that are happening here. You think I want to come anywhere near here? Shut up. Shut up, people. And you know what I know is happening? The Egyptian parliament or something, you could take this off. The Egyptian tourist department's paying people to say, oh, no, Egypt's still safe. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. I'm I'm here to tell you guys the truth, not to play in your face. Don't go anywhere near that war. But what happens when the war comes to you, whether that's economic, physical, whatever, right? Like if you can't get your gas, how are you driving to work? If you can't, what are your backup plans? Don't be so oblivious to think that the government's going to take care of you, people. Prep now. All right. Well, the show's already running long, so I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Next show we're going to talk about my let me just tell you a little bit about the Southern Seed Exposure Conference. And we're going to skip the yeah, exactly. We're going to go into here. I want you guys to join some communities that talk about the I went to this conference, learned a lot. It was yeah, we can play this. This lady here was the deputy director for no, this one here, just kind of the panel. Here are all the companies that were at the Southern Seed Exposure or Ujamaa Seed Conference. I loved it so much because of why it was a conference just about seeds, primarily about seeds. It was about farming and seeds and all that. I learned so much. This book, let me tell you guys one thing, right? Like the food that you buy at the grocery store, and I don't want to sound like that guy. I don't want to sound like the hipster, like, oh no, the food is so different. But the food that you buy at the grocery store does not compare to the food that you can grow. And here's a couple of reasons. Because the stuff that they grow at the grocery store, genetically modified, even if it's organic, right? They don't grow it. There's all these different types of tomatoes that they can grow. They grow it for what? For transport, not for taste. They grow it for transport. Most of your tomatoes, your lettuces, your spinaches, they come from California. They have to be on the road for days at a time. Then they have to be in a storage in the back of a warehouse or a store, right? Then they have to be able to last on the shelf for a couple of days. So they grow them for storage. They don't grow them for taste. So when you're growing your own seeds, you're going to say, whoa. And when I say they grow them for storage, what does that mean? That means that some of the tomatoes, some of the sweetest tomatoes are soft, right? But if you go and get some beef tomatoes, whatever, in the grocery store, you have to be able to pack them on top of each other. Have to be able to put them all on the top of a crate. So you can't grow flavorful soft tomatoes, or they'll just get squished. They'll get bruised easily. Everything, same thing with all the other ones. So some of these seeds that I'm buying are just different color pine or watermelons, even pineapples, right? Like you can't really grow pineapples where I'm at, but pink pineapples when I was at the Dole pineapple factory or whatever. I'm not calling it a plantation, but the Dole place. They had pink and purple pineapples. I'm like, how come I've never seen this? The pink pineapples are so sweet. I'm trying to look, like I literally look how much. Let me see here. Let me find a I love watermelon. I mean, I know I'm hitting so many stereotypes there, but I really do love different melons and then different beans. There's so many different beans in here. You can't look at all these different beans, right? What I want you to do is when next time you go to the grocery store, start buying different stuff that you haven't, because we all buy the same things in our grocery runs. I want you to get outside of your comfort zone. If you buy the same pepper, try something else. Try a different pepper. Try a different squash. Try a different zucchini squash. And then buy organic, buy heirloom. Make sure you'll understand what an heirloom seed is. And if you don't worry about it. Like learn. I didn't know what it was. Understand what GMOs are. And why you should stay away from them. So buy these heirloom seeds and then just start saving your seeds, start drying them, start growing stuff inside the house. It's not that difficult, guys. Be the best you that you can be. I'm going to touch more on this. Our show's running long today, and I appreciate you guys' time so much that I'm not going to force you to stay. But starting a Wednesday, we're going to be having we're going to have to come up with a name for it. Tell me what you guys think we should call the second half of the show. But we're going to be transitioning to the all access. So I could really tell you guys what I think about it and how they're poisoning our food. and then how the banana. I have an amazing story about. It's called the Michael's banana, on how the Michael's banana became the banana that we now know and eat. But there's a better freaking banana, and you have to be in the community for me to talk about that farm stuff. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about that video that I bring that back up. It was the grant. This was the deputy director for the USDA. She was showing us some grants and how you can win grants. I'm in class. I'm not just here spewing this stuff to you. I'm literally also learning and taking this stuff so I can tell you guys. I want to share that with you. I already have some information in there. The community is not free, because nothing in life worth having is free. There is a cost. It's about a cup of coffee. It's like you buying me a cup of coffee. And if you wouldn't buy me a cup of coffee, then I don't know. Maybe I'm not worth talking to. But I will tell you this: it's free for the first 100 people. It is free for the first 100 people. So if you are not in there yet, please do so before Wednesday, because after that, we're going to really start diving into the second hour, the all access, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dominique Pereira, but you might know me as Ask Domnat. Thank you for watching.